You hate the YouTube algorithm, don't you? You think it's preventing you from getting views every single day. But you'd be foolish to think that, and I'm going to tell you why in just 5 minutes. A lot of you believe the almighty algorithm is there to keep big channels on top and to keep you in your tiny, insignificant place. And if you do fail and you give up on your dream, so what? It's no skin off YouTube's back. You were such a small channel anyway. You weren't making any money for them. Yeah, we'll get back to that myth in a second. I'm Rob, by the way. Hello, vidIQ Nation. Pleased to meet you. I've helped thousands of creators turn their passions into thriving YouTube channels. And I also hate Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. I'll just let that one float in the air for a second. The truth is, there isn't one YouTube algorithm that rules them all. There are literally thousands of them, all interacting with each other. And internally, YouTube doesn't even talk of algorithms. They describe them as search and discovery systems. And the goal of these systems is incredibly simple: to surface the right video to the right viewer at the right time. That is why the same viewer on YouTube, on their mobile phone in the morning, will get completely different recommendations on YouTube when they're watching on TV an hour before they go to bed. But all of this raises a question. How did the YouTube algorithm, YouTube search and discovery systems, get here? Time for a quick history lesson. At first, things were very simple. It was all based off of raw view count and keywords. And some people still think it works like this, and they would be wrong because it's too easy to game the system with tactics such as keyword stuffing. So YouTube decided that a better metric to use would be watch time. When people watch videos for longer and more videos in a single session, these are all good viewer signals. This meant that there was less reliance on the video itself and more weight attached to how the viewer engaged with the video. Now, this is important, so pay attention. Viewer signals do not include things like comments, likes, and shares because they're too easy to manipulate. It's all how someone might think an algorithm can be hacked. But that's not how it works, because YouTube's, let me get this right, search and discovery systems are designed for humans and not robots. So the like button's down there somewhere, folks. Don't bother smashing it. I don't care. You're going to smash it anyway, aren't you? Anyway, back to watch time. There was a problem with that. Creators just made longer videos with lots of fluff and not much quality. And that led to a really frustrating viewer experience. And it also marginalized certain creators. It was a great platform for vloggers and gaming streamers, but not so much for animation channels that take 3 months to create 90 seconds of content. And so YouTube's systems evolved once again into this. Whatever this is. Apparently it's machine learning. What this allowed YouTube to do was to personalize absolutely everything for absolutely everyone on the platform. Which brings us back to the simplicity of the system. The right video to the right person at the right time. From this point on, no YouTube homepage, suggested video column, or even search page is the same from one viewer to the next. And what this led to was a shift in video emphasis, and you might be familiar with this term, quality over quantity. If creators want to learn something and get good at it fast, they should go for quantity. Repeat the process, do the reps, develop a YouTube muscle memory. But if a creator wants to build an audience, they should go for quality. Deliver something of value that educates, entertains, and inspires. And in certain times in your YouTube journey, you're likely to adopt both approaches. But we're not quite there yet. Machine learning worked wonders for watch time, but it could send viewers down rabbit holes like sensationalist content and conspiracy theories that would engage the viewer for hours on end, but leave them feeling miserable, not return to the YouTube platform for weeks. And so for the final piece of the puzzle, YouTube implemented viewer satisfaction. YouTube now measures your satisfaction through things like surveys asking you for a rating and how you felt at the end of the content. And when someone taps one of these buttons, they're massive negative signals about the video for that particular viewer. Oh, and sorry about the mess. I'm building some Lego here. In today's YouTube world, there will always be enough choice for the viewer. It's now a question of how that viewer feels from the video choices they make. This all sounds very complicated, right? And it's supposed to be, because the thing it serves, us, are complicated things. And it's unlikely today that YouTube themselves can clearly explain how these search and discovery systems work. Because in truth, it learns and changes every single day. And YouTube themselves are constantly tweaking and experimenting. They conduct around about 300 experiments every year. So when YouTube reports some weird YouTube glitch on Reddit, yeah, YouTube probably actually did that on purpose. So armed with all of this new information about the YouTube algorithm, I've started, so I'll finish. What can you do? Well, first up, not trying to hack the YouTube algorithm is a good start. It'll lead to endless frustration. And even when you do win and find an exploit, YouTube's going to fix it very, very quickly. And you'll be left arguing with robots rather than serving your audience. And if, after you've tried all of these exploits and none of them have worked, you complain to me about the algorithm being against you, well, I'm afraid you're just a noob in my book. So instead of all of that technical nonsense, learn about humans. What do the specific humans you want to talk to value? And how can you share those values through storytelling? What are their goals, desires, and beliefs? And how can you trigger all of that to create an emotional connection within the viewer? That's how you build an audience and grow on YouTube. We all know that YouTube's hard, right? The struggle is real. But that's not going to stop you, is it? Because you are creatively relentless.
I'm not going to lie to you. If it feels like the YouTube algorithm is ignoring your smaller YouTube channel, that might be because it actually is. But there is also a simple way that you can address this. We wanted to find the ultimate answer to why channels feel like they get stuck in the land of no views. So we went straight to the source.
Oh my gosh, the algorithm changed. I'm not getting as many views.
That's Todd. He works at YouTube, and he knows the YouTube algorithm like the back of his hand. He's also, friends with Mr. Beast. So if there's anybody that knows how to get on the good side of the YouTube algorithm, it's going to be Todd. Todd actually gave us 5 YouTube insights that you're not going to hear on any other YouTube algorithm video. It was his last tip that especially threw me off, so trust me here. Watch these tips and watch them in order if you want your small channel to turn into a big one. Choose to ignore these tips and the YouTube algorithm may just keep ignoring you. So let's get into it. Here's what creators have gotten wrong about the YouTube algorithm.
The main job of the algorithm is to serve the user when they show up. A lot of creators think about things from the creator perspective. Oh, well, I make a video and then YouTube pushes it out to a bunch of people. For the most part, recommendations and search don't get pushed out. They get kind of pulled from viewers.
So in other words, it's the YouTube viewer that actually gets to summon the YouTube algorithm. But if that's the case, how can you as a creator make sure that your video is the one to show up?
We use the watch history as probably the most important signal that we know about a viewer to figure out what they might want to watch next.
And here we're actually getting a little bit closer to that answer. It is watch history that you need to be worried about. If you want your videos to be pulled by the YouTube algorithm, then you need to get into somebody's watch history. As we know, that's easier said than done. Now, if you already have a few subscribers, there's a good chance that they are the ones to watch your videos and therefore you end up in their watch history. But what if you're starting at 0 and the algorithm has no idea who best to pair your videos with in the first place?
When we have absolutely no behavioral data, we're going to probably rely more on the metadata, the data that we have in terms of the title and the description. And I would say search is probably the first place for fresh videos. You upload a brand new video around Minecraft, we're going to consider that video when somebody searches for Minecraft based on the title and description.
Okay, so this is helpful. YouTube search, your title and your description, these are things you can be focused on to start bringing in those new viewers when you're starting from 0. But maybe you feel like you're already doing this and yet you're still struggling. What else could possibly be wrong? Todd had an answer to that too.
I would discourage creators from trying to compete in the most competitive spaces in the world. And so rather than go after the Minecraft query, for example, you might want to find a niche that isn't already being served by a million other videos. As you search around, maybe use Google Trends, spend time looking at what viewers see and see where can you produce the best video that's going to be better than what's already there, because that's where the opportunity is.
I love it that an employee at YouTube is calling a spade here. YouTube is inherently a competitive space. At the end of the day, your success on YouTube is going to depend on you making videos that stack up against the competition you have. And it would be so nice if our high quality videos that we make could compete in any niche on YouTube, but that's just not how it works. So as a creator, you need to be really thoughtful and strategic about which niche on YouTube you decide to enter into. But there was something else that Todd said that caught me completely by surprise.
I wouldn't rely entirely on YouTube as the only way to drive attention to your content. identifying other places where your content might be relevant. Could be everything from Facebook groups, Discord servers, Twitter, etc. Seed your video in places where you are going to get some watch history and kickstart that signal.
Todd is debunking a huge myth here. Contrary to popular belief, you actually should be promoting your small videos on other platforms outside of YouTube. Now, obviously that doesn't mean you should go around to every subreddit and Discord server you find and just spam your video links all over the place. Relevance is going to be key here. You want to go to the places where your community is hanging out, and you want to provide videos and maybe clips from your videos that can help them perhaps with a problem they're having. And if you choose to disregard that last bit of advice, then I would highly caution you here because you could end up paying for it. YouTube's not exactly, once again, going to know who to pair it with. So really be thoughtful when you're sharing your content outside the platform. Gotta work. I have like 3 more paragraphs. Don't buy cats. If you want to be a YouTuber, that's the real advice. Don't do it.
Okay, let's see how we did today. Oh, I'm still not getting any views. YouTube's algorithm is against me. Yeah, as tempting as it is to believe that, it's simply not true. So before you do give up, give me a chance to prove to you that the YouTube algorithm is not your enemy. It does want to help. You just need to figure out who it wants to help. And once you figure that out, your videos will get more recommended by YouTube. To reinforce your understanding, the goal of the YouTube algorithm is to find the right video for each viewer and then maximize that viewer's watch session so that they come away from the experience satisfied and will return in the future. And it does all of this through data signals. Now, YouTube needs positive signals to rank videos, and I'm not just talking about search rankings. I'm talking about how often and to how many people videos show up on the homepage and suggested videos. A little while back, some Google engineers wrote a research paper on this topic, and I'm not going to link it in the comments below because it's really technical and boring. But what it does highlight are key signals for video recommendations that include click-through rate, watch time, how many videos the user has watched from your channel, how recently the user watched a video about the same topic, what the user has searched for in the past, the user's previously watched videos, and the user's demographic information and location. Now, the first 3 signals are the only ones you can influence directly. Everything else, as we've already established, is personalized to the viewer. One way to influence viewers to click, watch, and click again is to have a constant stream of good ideas, and vidIQ can help you do that. Our recommendation AI will scan your channel and then suggest video ideas based on the topics you cover. You can get up to 50 ideas a day, more than 1,000 per month, and it's free to start using today. And I will leave a link to this in the description because it's really, really useful. As I hinted at a little earlier, when we talk about the YouTube algorithm, we're actually talking about 3 distinct discovery systems. There's one that chooses videos for the homepage. There's one that ranks videos for searchers, and another one for suggested viewers and what viewers should watch next. Now, while it is true that a lot of small channels initially get discovered through search, most channels don't really want to stick to that traffic source. That's because the algorithm tends to work best when viewers are watching videos from the homepage or suggested videos. Every time a person opens YouTube, be it on a computer, phone, tablet, or TV, the YouTube algorithm offers up a diverse set of videos that it thinks that person might like to watch. Videos that are selected to appear on the homepage are based upon 2 sorts of ranking criteria. The first, unsurprisingly, is performance. How well similar viewers seem to enjoy the video. YouTube measures performance with metrics like click-through rate, average view duration, average percentage viewed, likes, dislikes, and viewer surveys. And secondly, we're looking at personalization again. This means that YouTube offers videos to people that it thinks are relevant to their interests. When it comes to suggested videos, however, YouTube adds a few more ranking criteria to performance and personalization. Because you're in the process of watching a video, YouTube will suggest videos that are often watched together, videos on similar topics, or videos the user has already watched in the past. Now, when the algorithm is recommending videos to the viewer through a homepage or suggested videos, it's doing it more so through data because it doesn't know the viewer's intent. But when it comes to search, it's a whole different ballgame because the viewer is wanting to watch something very specific. YouTube is as much a vast search engine as it is a video platform. meaning that a little bit of SEO knowledge can come in handy. To a certain extent, YouTube's search algorithm does rely on keywords you use in your video's metadata to decide what your video is about. So if you want your video to show up when people search for videos with gluten-free recipes, you probably want to include those two words in the title, maybe in the thumbnail, the description, even in the words you say in the video itself. Now, it can take some time for YouTube to figure this out, which might explain why some videos don't take off in search for days, weeks, months, sometimes even years. But the more accurately YouTube can understand a video, the more accurately it can test with search results. And then the algorithm can start to assess the performance of a video. If your video appeals to and satisfies people looking for those keywords, it will be shown to even more people. And believe you me when I say, once you get to the top of the search rankings, you can stay there for years. If the answer to a search query never changes, that is perfect evergreen content. So with all of this information about the YouTube algorithm now at your fingertips, let's start taking action on it. While there are many humans watching your videos, there is no human being specifically sitting at YouTube headquarters watching your video and ranking it. Instead, the algorithm looks at your metadata and it decides what the video is about, which videos or categories it's related to, and who might want to watch it. When it comes to YouTube, whatever we're talking about, there's a reason we use words such as subscribers, views, watch time, monetization, growing your channel, copyright. That is the universal language of the content creator. Obviously, you need to upload a custom thumbnail and keep the visual style consistent across all of your thumbnails. You must write an intriguing title that creates a sense of curiosity in the viewer's mind that can only be resolved by clicking on the video. And remember that the first sentence, around about 150 characters of the description, will show up in search, so make it interesting and relevant. Once the viewer starts watching and you have them hooked, make it easy for them to keep watching your content and stay within your channel's ecosystem. To this end, use cards, end screens, playlists, subscription watermarks. If you imagine YouTube as a viewer's home, you want to make your channel their favorite room to hang out in. You also need to consider views that don't actually come from the YouTube algorithm. Views from external sites, cross-promotion on other social media platforms, and partnerships with other channels or brands can all help you earn views and subscribers, depending on your strategy. But above all else, in a time of content saturation, viewers want value. The algorithm prioritizes satisfaction for each individual human viewer. So find your target audience, find your niche, and lean into it. You want to become their go-to guide on YouTube.
There's this common misconception that I've seen amongst YouTube creators regarding the YouTube algorithm. It's this idea that you have to outsmart the algorithm, or that the algorithm hates you. That attitude, though, really frames the YouTube algorithm in a super negative way, and that's especially a problem for any creator who's just getting started. So instead of treating the YouTube algorithm like some kind of enemy that you need to defeat, I thought today I would change the narrative. I want you to become friends with the YouTube algorithm, and the idea here is that you're going to become such good friends that it's not going to be able to help itself but to recommend your content to more viewers. By the end of this video, it's my hope that you start to think of the YouTube recommendation system in a whole new productive way, so that the next time you upload a video, you get a lot more views. In order to demonstrate the points that I want to make, let's first give the algorithm an identity. We're going to call him Albert, because Albert the algorithm sounds kind of funny to me. Now, Albert's in a really difficult position because he's kind of split between two different groups of friends. On one side, there's you, the creators, and on the other side are viewers, the people simply logging into YouTube to just watch some videos. Now, Albert would like nothing more than to introduce you to all of his viewer friends. Unfortunately for you, every single viewer has their own unique individual tastes. So in order for Albert to make sure that the introduction of you to his viewer friends goes well, he has to make sure that he finds exactly the right types of viewers for your content. And all he's really doing is just finding people with similar interests to the things you're covering on your channel. Well, that makes sense, right? So how does he do it? Don't worry about it, all right? It's none of your business. What I'm trying to say is that nobody really knows how Albert goes about finding the right people for the right content on a day-to-day basis. On this channel, we spend a lot of time trying to make sense of it all, but at the end of the day, Albert is kind of a mystery even to the people who created him in the first place. So, don't worry about it. That's Albert's personal life, and you focusing on it so much is frankly kind of rude. But seriously, do you guys think it's safe to be hanging around Albert? The first thing you have to do is start telling Albert a little bit about yourself. And he doesn't text, so you're gonna have to do this by just posting videos to your channel. So you start telling Albert all about camping. You're showing him places you like to camp. You're showing him how you prepare for trips. You're showing him deals on the supplies that you buy before a new trip. You tell Albert about that one time when you went hiking, you saw this bear on the trail. You give him your list of the top 5 nature trails throughout the country. Instead of trying to conquer Albert, you treat him like a friend and you tell him everything. Once you do, one thing becomes really clear to Albert, and that's that you really like camping. Maybe even a little too much. But you love it, and good news, Albert knows exactly which friends he wants to introduce you to. So Albert, being the selfless friend that he is gonna go out of his way to consistently find you new people to show your videos to. Sounds pretty harmonious, right? Happily ever after? Well, it's not that simple. You see, as creators, people, we're not exactly content to just like one thing, to have one hobby. You might love camping, but you might also love movies. So one day you decide to tell Albert all about a movie you saw. So you give him a full-blown review of your thoughts on this movie. Albert's gonna look at this and he's gonna think to himself, you know what? I might actually know some people who like this movie. So he's gonna decide to introduce you to some of them. And what do you think happens next? Well, since this metaphor is like super long, I'll explain it like this. What you've just done is you've taken a camping channel and you've uploaded a movie review to it. In doing so, you've essentially asked the algorithm to find you some viewers who might want to watch it. So Albert's very likely to go to your viewers who generally like the camping content and then give them the option to watch this movie review that you did. It's gonna become clear to Albert really fast that they're not super into it when they likely don't click on it. But Albert is actually really persistent because what he's going to do is not only show it to your regular camping viewers, he might actually try to find some viewers who typically click on videos like this movie review. And by now, since you're such an experienced creator, the people who watch this content might actually really like it because they like your editing style and everything is just really resonating with them. And if those new viewers happen to really like this video, that's gonna excite Albert a lot. And what he's gonna do is show those new viewers the camping videos because he wants to show them everything he knows about you. There's just one problem with that though. Just like the camping viewers didn't really want to watch the movie review viewers probably aren't super into camping. As the creator behind this channel, this puts you in a bit of a bind. Do you want to hang out with your camping friends, or do you want to continue hanging out with your new movie review buddies? In theory, you could try to split your time between both groups of people, but what you're probably likely to find along the way is that gaining subscribers is going to slow down a lot. What this means for you as a creator is slower growth across your whole channel. Because trying to be all things to all people is a fantastic way to confuse the algorithm very, very quickly. You're likely to get to a point where you're just kind of spinning your wheels forever because you're not doing a good enough job of building up that momentum you need to get into the recommendation feeds of the same type of viewer over and over again. So if you start covering a popular topic, even as a newer channel, YouTube is probably going to go out of its way to find viewers for that content that are hungry for more on that topic. When you double down on that content, you're starting to feed those very same viewers more of what they already love. And you're also building credibility along the way. Once viewers have seen enough of your videos, that is the point in which they're likely to subscribe. And chances are it is going to take more than one video to convert somebody from viewer to subscriber.
I'm not getting any views because YouTube won't give my video a chance. That's what most small creators say to themselves. But the truth is, your first video could go viral. You just need to know how to get your videos discovered. So let's talk about it. Now riddle me this. How many times have you watched a YouTube video and then instantly clicked on one of those recommended to you, even if it's not from the same channel? Well, the truth is, YouTube is pretty much built on these recommendation systems, and creators strive to get to the top of them, whether it's search recommendations or suggested videos. Now, just like the rest of YouTube, there are no shortcuts or hacks to the recommendation systems, because there are so many variables. But here are some things to consider as a creator. Now, viewers can discover your content in many different places on YouTube. Search, homepage, suggested. But we'll start with search. I'll tell you why in a second. Now, believe it or not, each user will see different search results, even if they type in exactly the same search query. This can be influenced by location, language, or if the viewer has already seen videos on a certain channel that answer similar search-based queries. But the key factors that you control as a creator are keyword relevance and performance of video. When it comes to search, YouTube relies a little bit more on metadata than it does elsewhere. This is because YouTube has more of an understanding of the viewer's intent because they've searched for something specifically. And when YouTube knows what your video is about, it's going to test it with audiences who are searching for those particular queries. And then YouTube can analyze the performance of the video, click-through rate, watch time, engagement such as likes and comments, viewer satisfaction from surveys. If your video appeals to and satisfies the people watching it, then YouTube is going to bring it up these search rankings so that more people can discover it when they have that specific viewer intent. And so this is why new creators should focus a little bit more than usual on search-based content. It's going to help you target a very specific audience, and YouTube, by virtue of that search term, is going to bring that exact target audience to your content. So try to include keywords in your titles whilst keeping them emotionally intriguing to the potential viewer. Be really strategic about what you write in the first couple of lines in your description. This is the section of the description you can see before you have to tap on see more. And here at vidIQ, we've got a brand new tool that can help you with that. All you need to do is type in a couple of words into our AI description generator, and this will create 1 or 2 paragraphs of keyword-rich prose. You can even use it as the beginning of your script for a video, and it goes hand in hand with the daily ideas tool and the title generator. Whenever possible, you also want to provide accurate captions for your videos. I don't know if you've noticed this, but sometimes when you search for something on YouTube, it will bring back results based on what it finds in captions, and it will tell you that. And from a viewer satisfaction point of view, most videos are watched on a mobile device, which means that they're not always in perfect audio listening environments. So they might have the sound muted. That's where your captions can help out. And if your content is very tutorial, how-to based, then you probably want to use timed chapters. This will help the viewer navigate your content and make it a more satisfying experience. Now, this is where the magic starts to happen. Once somebody has discovered your content through search and watched it, that video is now in their watch history. And once it's there, there is a high degree of probability that YouTube will surface more of your content to that viewer on the homepage. That's because when a user finds themselves on the homepage, they probably haven't decided yet what they want to watch. So YouTube's going to offer them a diverse range of content. So naturally, performance is going to be a key indicator as to whether or not your video shows up on homepages. But now, personalization is just as important. YouTube is showing on the homepage what it thinks the viewer wants to watch based on watch history. If a viewer watched something from your channel based on a search query, then the next videos you make should be related to that search query. Now, it doesn't have to be a tutorial or a how-to. It could be entertainment, blog, storytelling. What you want that user to be saying to themselves is, I remember when this creator helped me with something when I was searching for it on YouTube. And now another one of their videos is appearing on the homepage and it looks really interesting. I think I'll watch that as well. Now, generally speaking, tips for optimizing your videos for the homepage are very similar to suggested videos. So let's take a look at that first. You've probably heard this figure before, but it does bear repeating. Around 70% of views across the entire YouTube platform come from recommendations. Yeah. YouTube has got really good at this. When suggesting videos to watch next, YouTube uses slightly different considerations. In addition to performance and viewer personalization, YouTube is likely to recommend videos that are often watched together. It will recommend videos on similar topics, and it may even recommend videos that have already been watched by the viewer. So with all of that being said, let's consider how to optimize your videos for the homepage and suggested. Make the beginning of a video highly engaging. This is where we're talking about that 8-second hook. Eye-catching visuals, bombastic audio, something interesting and intriguing. Establish quickly what the video is about and try to hint at what's coming up later in the video without revealing too much. And if you need any examples of this, watch any of our videos from the last year and watch the first 20 seconds because we've been really driving home this concept of a powerful hook. Another signal to be conscious of is engagement. And what we're talking about here is likes, comments, shares. These types of signals show that the viewer isn't just passively watching the content. It's doing enough to encourage the viewer to partake in these micro calls to action. For example, notice how I asked a fairly simple, easy to answer question at the start of this video. That's why I did it. And then, of course, we have one of the biggest signals, watch time. This is a very general rule of thumb, but if you can get your audience retention above 50% on videos that are longer than 3 minutes, you're going in the right direction. But of course, you don't want viewers watching just one of your videos. So you can use cards, like I've already done, to push viewers to more of your content. end screens in particular, playlists, pinned comments. You want viewers to stick around in your corner of YouTube as long as possible. And last, but certainly not least, titles and thumbnails. Pay particularly close attention to them, as those are the first things your viewer sees, but probably the last thing you create when you make the video. YouTubers are complaining, nothing new there. Apparently, as always, something really fishy is going on with the YouTube algorithm. All of this lot are saying that their YouTube Shorts views are being limited and affecting the views coming into their long-form content. Could it be true? Well, let's find out. Let's uncover why you're feeling that way. Let's have a look at everything we know about the YouTube Shorts algorithm. And, most importantly, what should you do about it? So I think we'll all admit that the YouTube Shorts journey so far can be best described as turbulent. The algorithm has been, at best, unpredictable because it's changed so much in the last couple of years. However, none of us can deny nor escape that YouTube Shorts are booming. YouTube won't ever admit it, but they were late to this particular video party, short form vertical clips. Instagram and in particular TikTok have caused massive disruption with the industry. But YouTube, to their credit, have recovered fast and very successfully. Just 18 months after its official launch, YouTube claims that there are now 1.5 billion Shorts users. And I still can't quite believe this figure, 50 billion Shorts views every single day. Now, if that number is to be believed, that would be the equivalent of every single person on the planet doing this 8 times a day. Now, YouTube, I don't believe you. Regardless of the stats, YouTube Shorts are definitely here to stay. They still present a fantastic opportunity for quick growth and questionable opportunities to make money, at least now. Who knows what's going to happen in the future? But I think it is fair to say that generally speaking, for most creators, YouTube tends to be more generous with their payouts to creators. I'm sure there'll be some raging in the comments right now, but underneath this layer of growth and successful YouTube Shorts creator stories, there's the usual struggle and strife. The official line, according to YouTube, is that creators who produce both shorts and long-form videos see better overall watch time and subscriber growth compared to those producing only long-form format videos. And this would ring true with these creators whose views have increased dramatically since focusing on YouTube Shorts. And at the top of the YouTube Shorts mountain, we have outliers such as the pink shirt couple, who literally gathered in 9.5 million fans from Shorts in around about 3 months. But what about the flip side of the experience, when you don't handpick the very best examples of YouTube Shorts creators? We're talking about the rank and file of YouTube here, the communities, Reddit. Yeah, the experiences on there are somewhat polarizing. One of the biggest issues we've seen so far, and I'm hoping this is just a temporary bug, is there are a considerable amount of complaints about people uploading Shorts and literally getting 0 views and absolutely no engagement, even though they've already uploaded videos in the past with views and maybe have a few hundred subscribers. Now, remember, when it comes to YouTube Shorts, viewers typically don't have a choice. They don't have a bundle of titles and thumbnails to pick from. A viewer goes onto the Shorts feed and YouTube serves up what it thinks a viewer may want to watch next. But if your short is literally getting 0 views, that means that YouTube is literally not giving your short a chance. However, there is a solution to that, although it's a little bit bonkers.
If your YouTube short is stuck at 1 view, here's a little trick you can try. Alright, so what I'm gonna do is re-upload the clip onto YouTube. So the video with 1 view, I'm actually just going to make it unlisted for now. Alright, I'm making the new video public, so let's see what happens. So it's a day later and we're at 176 views as opposed to being stuck at 1.
YouTube's working properly, that shouldn't really happen, should it? Still, if you've had success doing that, let us know in the comments below. Next, we have a far more common phenomenon, which are viewer waves, which makes the YouTube Shorts algorithm look somewhat basic and exploitable. It sometimes looks like Shorts go through 2 cycles. The first round is where the algorithm tries to figure out the value of the content to determine if it's worth pushing and check if it could go viral. If your audience engages, in the second cycle, your video will be pushed out to a much wider audience and they might enjoy the content. I even coined a phrase for this weird algorithm called the Shorts Surge, and I challenged myself to say that fast 10 times, and I nearly broke my teeth and my tongue. And then we have a humankind creator problem. Viewer revolt. There are YouTube educators like myself telling you to explore YouTube Shorts, but they are killing your channel because your viewers hate Shorts being shoved down their throats. But remember YouTube's official line, creators who produce longs and shorts see better performance on their long form content as well. And to hammer home the success of shorts, out of the top 10 most viewed US YouTube channels, 8 are shorts channels, some of which are getting 350 million views a week. As we dig deeper into this, the messaging gets really unclear, doesn't it? Should I make YouTube shorts or not? How are they going to affect my channel? And I guess the reason we still have to ask this is because last year, YouTube did actually acknowledge they had a problem with the YouTube Shorts algorithm.
When the algorithm saw a viewer, oh, look, the last 200 videos this viewer watched were all under a minute. This viewer is like, they only want to watch short videos. And so it basically stopped recommending those viewers long-form content. The algorithm doesn't know how to handle shorts and treat that the right way, so we're going to split off the history for the viewers. So when a viewer goes into the main YouTube, we're going to not pay attention to what shorts they watch because we don't want the algorithm to get the wrong idea.
As a part of the growing pains of shorts, YouTube had to employ that quick fix last year. So for a period of time, the success of your shorts was having no impact on your long form content. But since then, YouTube has reversed that algorithmic temporary fix. But having said that, we still see consistently of examples where people are getting tons of views on shorts and they just do not translate into their long form content on the same channel. Now, as an anecdote, we can give you vidIQ's experiences of shorts combined with longs. To date, we haven't had that much success with shorts, about 15 to 20,000 views per short, and then they tend to die away. Our long form videos consistently get more views than shorts, which I appreciate, sounds a little weird. But since we started posting 4 YouTube shorts a week combined with 2 or 3 long form videos, the performance of our long form videos has increased. Is our long form content doing better because we post shorts? I doubt it. I just think the quality of our long form videos has improved. Now let's talk about YouTube's biggest rival to short form content, a platform that might not even exist in 12 months' time. Why is it that some creators see tons more views on TikTok with exactly the same content, but when they put onto YouTube Shorts, don't perform at all? We've even had this happen with one of our colleagues here at vidIQ. Hundreds of thousands of views on TikTok and Instagram and barely anything on Shorts. Well, the simple answer is the algorithms are different. Viewers' watching habits on different platforms is obviously different, which means that the discovery engines behind those platforms are different, and YouTube Shorts is just another one of those platforms. But here's where YouTube differs to potentially your advantage, even with short form content. YouTube remains the second largest search engine on the internet, and I believe they are trying to incorporate search into YouTube Shorts. We've experienced it ourselves. Some of our YouTube Shorts do get traffic from search. So if you're an education / how-to / solution-based channel, there is still hope for you when it comes to shorts. Listen, we get it. The cherry-picked success stories that YouTube shows us in the media would suggest that shorts is incredibly easy to be successful at. But they're not. Yes, they're quicker to make, but that doesn't make them easier to make. It requires an entirely different creative discipline. Even we are struggling with shorts right now, but we're determined to keep plugging away to make them a success for your YouTube education. This video was brilliant. It's got 17 views. The algorithm is punishing me again. Interesting. I'm curious to know, did anybody subscribe from the video? Well, no, actually. Really? Well, how about like? Someone gave you a thumbs up, yeah? No. Huh. And what about any comments? Oh, yeah. My mum commented. She didn't watch the video, but it's a thought that counts, right? You can increase the chance of YouTube suggesting your content by increasing your click-through rate and your video watch time. This line of text, found deep in the analytics, is one of those rare glimpses into how the YouTube algorithm might actually work. And when I saw this new, sneaked under the radar data point in the YouTube studio, I thought it might be a further insight into the YouTube algorithm. You can find it in the audience retention data of any video under the drop-down labeled detailed activity. This will display a second graph telling you exactly how many people joined or left the video at any point. It's a sort of data you first look at and say, ooh, this is interesting. And then the more you look at it, you start to ask yourself, what's this actually telling me? I think that for the vast majority of creators, it's going to have a huge spike at the beginning of a video and a huge drop at the end of it, with barely any noticeable stuff in the middle. I don't think we need a new graph to tell us that. No. So why have you just told me about a new useless analytic that's not going to help me break the algorithm? That, Mr. Small YouTube channel, is actually a really good question. Maybe for you, the data is completely different and useful. If it is, let us know your experiences in the comments below. For me, it's just another way of looking at the same data we already have, average view duration. But what if YouTube were to do something like this? Imagine a timeline that showed you exactly when viewers liked the video, hit the subscribe button, or posted a comment. I think it would be an awesome tool, and I'm going to call it the Audience Satisfaction Heat Map. This is another rare glimpse into the algorithm, which you'll find in YouTube's support pages. YouTube's search and discovery system helps viewers find the videos they're most likely to watch and maximize long-term viewer satisfaction. Rob, methinks you should have called this the Viewers Satisfaction Heat Map. Probably right, actually. But the question is, what is viewer satisfaction? Well, it's all of these things, including one of the engagement metrics we've already mentioned, likes and dislikes. And so just imagine for a moment if you were able to test different forms of engagement. For example, if I were to say to you, if this video gets more than 2,000 likes, then you might see Mr. Small YouTube channel man in future videos. Would that spike the engagement on this video? Probably not, because nobody cares about Mr. Small YouTube channel man. Given that YouTube can record exactly how long a viewer spends on a video up to the second, it's not a stretch to imagine that they can record exactly when a viewer engages with a video with a like, a subscribe button, or a comment. So YouTube, make it happen. And if you can't, I've got some data that might interest you. Here's a question for you. Go to your most popular video and divide views by likes. What number do you come up with? In our case, if we divide 1.9 million views by 72,000 likes, we come up with a views to like ratio of 26.1. Now, of course, in isolation, the views to like ratio on one video on one channel doesn't mean very much. But what about when you compare it against 10,000 channels? Well, in the end, we were actually able to get 17,000 responses from our community. And the general consensus seems to be that if you're averaging less than 10 views per like, your content is likely to be quite engaging. Now, we need to be clear that there are a lot of caveats about this data. It doesn't take into account whether it's a long form piece of content or a short, or how many total views the video has. But the distribution of percentages is remarkably balanced. Now, nobody outside of YouTube, and probably YouTube themselves, know just how much likes influence the discovery of content. But it stands to reason that if you can turn your video from a passive experience into an interactive one, through likes and potentially comments, then the video is more likely to be shared with a wider audience. And so obviously, the only natural thing to do next was to ask the vidIQ community how many views per comment they get. Unfortunately, I don't think I got the balance quite right here. A comment every 100 views is about average or better. What did surprise me though, is that over a quarter of creators simply don't get any comments at all. I've got two explanations for this, both of which could be wrong. They could be viral shorts where the comments just can't keep up with the views, or more likely, external traffic to these YouTube videos where it's impossible to comment on the video. Although it doesn't strictly mention comments as an influencing factor on the discovery of content, in my opinion, I can't think of a higher honor for a video to get a comment from somebody who's watching the video. To make a viewer care enough about the content to spend time writing a comment with no guarantee of a response, if that's not an excellent example of viewer engagement and possible satisfaction, I don't know what is. I guess from the algorithm's perspective, it is harder to evaluate a comment. Is it positive? Is it negative? Or is it just another one of those bots? But ignoring for a second whether or not comments are exploitable, when it works, it is one of the truest forms of a human-triggered response. Which is why you should be trying to engage with your audience throughout the video, and then once it goes live, jump into the comments so that you can respond to some of your loyal audience. I have tried everything you've suggested and none of it's working. I didn't mean you poor excuse for a YouTube channel. Well, why am I not getting any more subs? Oh, that's actually a good question. Yeah. What is a good views to sub ratio? This was a simple one to do. Divide total channel views by subscribers, and you'll get an answer of under 50 views per subscriber if you're doing a fairly decent job. if subscribers really matter to you, of course. And the simplest way to get more subscribers is to ask. But the YouTube Shorts algorithm, it's new and offers amazing opportunities for channel growth. And yet, it's baffling and unpredictable. Having said that, we think we finally cracked part of its code. But in order to benefit, you're going to have to act fast. Let me paint you a typical scenario. I need a solution to a problem, and naturally, I head to YouTube. I type something into the search bar, and I get 3 videos. 1, a 5-minute video. 2, an 8-minute, 3-second video, but is obviously stretched out long enough just to allow mid-roll ads. Quite annoying, right? And then a relatively new option, a 40-second short. All of these videos resolve the same problem. And so if you're in a rush and you just need to fix your problem as quickly as possible, yeah, that 40-second short is quite compelling, isn't it? And yes, the bigger revelation here is YouTube Shorts now appear in YouTube search. That's a powerful addition to the second largest search engine in the world. Allegedly. Search-based content has been a foundation of YouTube ever since Google got involved. And people are always going to need to solve problems. How do I grow my YouTube channel? Where to travel on a budget? How do I play the guitar? And through this content, there are countless education and how-to based channels that have built business empires solving viewers' problems. But the problem is, every creator already knows this, which means that search-based content is extremely competitive and often oversaturated. But when YouTube suddenly introduces a new video format to search-based content, that kind of acts like a hard reset. Over the last decade, creators haven't been making vertical format search-based content assuming it's going to be discoverable on YouTube. But all of a sudden, it is. So there isn't much of it. Yet, anyway. Let me show you what's happening on our channel. When I go into the Shorts video analytics in the YouTube studio and take a look at traffic sources, over the last 9 months, we are seeing a near 500% increase in traffic from YouTube search for our YouTube Shorts. And even more incredibly, if we just look at the 2023 data, YouTube search is our biggest traffic source for YouTube Shorts. And yet YouTube refuses to let us put custom thumbnails on our shorts to make them look attractive on a search page. I'm sure many of you are familiar with this type of graph, the Shorts surge, where YouTube dumps thousands of views onto a short only for the views to dry up just as quickly. Again, pretty annoying, right? So what if instead you could get consistent evergreen views over a 120-day period from a YouTube short via search traffic views? Oh yeah, this is now possible. And if you do start to get YouTube search traffic, that can naturally lead on to something else. External Google search traffic. Yeah, I never thought I'd see the day when a YouTube short would get most of its views from Google search. But there's the evidence, plain and simple. So where am I going with all of this? Well, put simply, if you are a search-based YouTube channel that's had previous success, you can use YouTube Shorts as a brand new launching pad and start all over again. And let's not overcomplicate things here. Go to the advanced mode of your analytics, set a time period of the last 365 days, sort by traffic source, and then click on YouTube search. Make YouTube Shorts with these search term queries as the basis of your titles. The chances are you already know which of your long form videos rank in YouTube search. Well, then remake them as YouTube Shorts. And then look for search-based opportunities that haven't yet been served for YouTube Shorts. How to live stream on YouTube has some successful long-form videos. Let's fill the short shelf up with some of our content. This is all a little bit back to the future. Creators once again have a fresh opportunity to dominate a search term on YouTube. But that window of opportunity is very finite, because when other creators, especially those from TikTok, realize the potential of search on YouTube, they're gonna flood the platform. So the time to act is now if you want to grow your channel but not earn very much doing it. While you may start to create evergreen views on YouTube Shorts over a longer period of time, I'm afraid that's not going to extend into evergreen income. Yeah, that's YouTube Shorts for you. So if you want to position yourself at the front of the Shorts wave, search-based content might be the solution for you. Every time you post a YouTube short, it feels like it's going to go viral, doesn't it? Oh, cool, I'm a small channel and I've already got 1,000 views. Then, bang! everything suddenly stops. And then it keeps happening over and over and over again, which leaves you to start wondering, is the YouTube algorithm truly against me? Or worse still, have I been shadow banned? Now, usually I would try to convince you otherwise, but what if this time you're right?
So you have these seed audiences. The seed audience will try and be like, oh, it's not really that much interest, and then you'll see it drop suddenly.
And in this video, that's what we aim to find out. Why YouTube Shorts views always seem to start strong and then suddenly tank. You'll learn what's going on behind the scenes with the YouTube algorithm and how it decides which videos to promote. Now, it turns out timing and consistency are crucial factors. So you're going to want to pay close attention because I'm going to reveal the optimum posting strategies to ensure that those views don't taper off. But if you get the timing wrong, yep, that temperamental Shorts algorithm is going to do its thing. So make sure you stick around until the end of this video because I'm going to show you all of the actionable tips that reveal how the YouTube Shorts algorithm is working in 2023. Oh, and I also forgot, there's a little game of spot the difference in this video. So if you find it, let us know in the comments below and I'll give you a thumbs up. And is there such a thing as YouTube shadow banning you from Shorts? Well, keep watching. But first, let's throw this over to you. Have your Shorts views ever dropped off inexplicably? If the answer is yes, which I'm sure it is for many of you, then try the timing strategies in this video and then come back and let us know how you got on. Now then, you're probably quite familiar with this typical YouTube Shorts graph. Not much happens for a few hours and then whoosh, it suddenly takes off, only to flatten out just as quickly. Now, when I first saw this in action years ago, I phrased it as the Shorts surge, without really understanding the why behind what was going on. But now we have an expert's explanation to back all of this up. And if you've got some spare time, try saying Shorts surge and expert's explanation really fast 10 times. Now, I will confess that this expert opinion comes from someone on Reddit, claiming to be a former data scientist from one of the fabled FANG companies. But allow me to explain. The YouTube Shorts algorithm consists of two stages: explore and exploit. And it's the seed audience from these stages that determines whether a short takes off.
If you're a smaller channel, we want to get you a seed audience. Like if we don't know a ton about you, like let's say you're just starting out, we want to get that as fast as possible. If you're a really small channel, it may take a little bit of time for you to get that seed audience and ramp it.
Now, these two dudes are not random experts on Reddit. They're actual YouTube employees, so they should know a little bit about how the YouTube Shorts algorithm works. So we'll get back to the seed audience in a second. The Reddit post explains the explore and exploit stages as a multi-armed bandit system. So think slot machines at a casino. When you first publish a short, it enters an explore phase where it gets sent out to a small, random seed audience. This seed audience acts like a focus group to test if your content resonates. The algorithm tries to find viewers that might be a good match for your short based on factors like your niche, their watch history, and so on. But here's the catch. That seed audience may not represent your target audience. The seed audience, especially if you're a smaller channel, is randomly selected by the algorithm to minimize regret and maximize engagement. And to support this theory, remember what the YouTube employee said.
If you're a really small channel, it may take a little bit of time for you to get that seed audience and ramp it.
So if we go back to the one-armed bandit, if YouTube finds a perfect seed audience, you've hit the jackpot. And when that happens, the algorithm moves on to its next phase: exploit. The short will get more exposure and be sent out more widely. However, if that initial seed audience isn't engaged, it doesn't provide enough momentum for the short to really take off. And then the algorithm will, well, I'll just let the YouTube employee explain.
The seed audience will try and be like, oh, it's not really that much interest, and then you'll see it drop suddenly.
But what if your counter to all of this is the fact that the video got thousands of views? Surely that's good data for YouTube to work with, right? Well, yes, for long form content, but not necessarily for shorts.
I think also for creators, we're used to impressions, click-through rates, and that doesn't exist in a feed. And so those views feel to me like more like impression than traditional views.
That's right. I think that especially creators starting out, I think a lot of those early views, they're sort of very like exploratory.
Yeah.
Typically, when you watch shorts, you don't choose the ones you end up watching. YouTube chooses for you through the shorts feed. And so logically, the only way to really test these shorts isn't through impressions, it's through views. Going forward, that is something to remember. Impressions test long form content, views test shorts, especially when they're first released. You need to keep this strategy top of mind. Make great YouTube shorts for your target audience. And this is how you stack the odds in your favor. Research your target audience and find out what makes them tick, and tailor everything you do from text, visuals, editing to match what they like. This gives you a better chance of the content resonating with whatever seed audience YouTube sends your way. Try to post 1 or 2 shorts a day to increase your chance of hitting that jackpot. You can find out through YouTube when your audience is online. So through that, you can match your publishing times to when your users are most active on YouTube. The data that will be most useful to you is the new swipe away analytic. And YouTube also now includes returning viewers for shorts content. In other words, do you hook viewers before they have the chance to swipe away? Once we here at vidIQ began adopting these strategies, YouTube eventually discovered the perfect seed audience for our shorts, and now they function very much like regular videos in terms of views, including views from search and external traffic sources. But we'll also admit that none of this came easy to us. It took about a year and 100 YouTube shorts to figure this out. So yeah, patience is always a YouTube virtue. And with this YouTube short, we can really put that Reddit theory to the test. 1.2 million views in 70 days. And what did it do? Explore and exploit. Exploit and exploit some more. So with the YouTube Shorts algorithm still effectively being a work in progress, does that mean it's exploitable, vulnerable to hacks? Well, apparently there is one. Many claim to have exploited it, and it's as simple as they come. Re-uploading.
If your YouTube short is stuck at 1 view, here's a little trick you can try. Alright, so what I'm gonna do is re-upload the clip onto YouTube. The video with 1 view, I'm actually just going to make it unlisted for now. Alright, I'm making the new video public, so let's see what happens. So it's a day later and we're at 176 views as opposed to being stuck at 1.
Okay, so would we recommend doing that? No! Probably not. This same YouTube employee who was speaking to Colin and Samir is part of our vidIQ Max Discord group, and he says that to YouTube, re-uploading will be seen as abusive and will get your channel flagged as spam. And that's when you could truly consider your channel shadow banned. And for good reason. Things are starting to get more strategical, but ultimately, what it always boils down to on YouTube, no matter what content you're creating, is viewer satisfaction. And what is the most important thing that satisfies the viewer when it comes to shorts? Not the title, not the thumbnail, the hook. Within literal seconds, you need to pull the viewer into the short so that they don't swipe away. YouTube analytics. We all know that views are important. We all know that subscribers are important, but the question is, what comes next?
So today we're going to talk about 5 metrics that are not views or subscribers, but that are also very important and could lead to more views and subscribers.
All right, Dan, let's talk about our YouTube feelings, starting off with impressions. And this is the number of times your title and your thumbnail is seen by viewers on a platform. How do impressions generally make you feel?
Anxious. I think impressions are the thing that I tie a lot of my self-confidence to as a video creator. And I'll explain it like this. When somebody, and I myself included, posts a video on YouTube, the place where I'm at is in my analytics watching that box. Is it going to be a 1 out of 10 and I get to like walk away and like celebrate the rest of the day? Or is it going to be a 6? I'll take a 6. Hey, like that means I did average. Or is it going to be a 10 out of 10, which doesn't necessarily mean it's literally 10 out of 10. A 10 out of 10 could mean it is literally your worst performing video ever, and it just doesn't go lower than 10. So figure it out. When I get those 10 out of 10s, and as you know, I've had some even recently, it determines how I'm going to make videos going forward for a while. It takes a bit for me to get out of that mindset of like, I failed, and YouTube said as much.
Interesting. So you're putting your like initial thoughts, efforts, and hopes into impressions, helping you with that box, and it being a 1 or 10 or a 10 of 10. I think I have a slightly different feeling about impressions, and that's more, why is YouTube not helping my video today, or is over helping my video? And what I mean by that is, even on the vidIQ channel, we have varying numbers of impressions, say in the first 24 hours. Like on one day I'll release a video and it'll get 400,000 impressions. And then on another day, a video that's on a similar topic, but not exactly the same topic, it might get 200,000 impressions in the first 24 hours. And you think, wow, YouTube gave one video half the opportunity as opposed to the other video to get seen, clicked, and viewed. I have noticed in the first 2 or 3 hours that I think your click-through rate and your watch time can start to impact impressions. It can push it up or it can hold it back. But it does still seem like a curious figure. Like, we seem to have a ballpark number of impressions that we may get from videos in the first day. I think once you get beyond 72 hours, then impressions can be very much determined by if it's going to be an evergreen piece of content. I guess my feeling is sometimes a little bit puzzled, but both like in a positive and a negative. And it's ironic that you say, like, is my video 1 of 10? And if it is, I can move on and do something else. And ironically, you know, we're having this conversation as finally, after like a couple of weeks, we have a 1 of 10 video, and it gives us like this creative freedom to just breathe and have a casual conversation about this.
Right now, yeah, we're celebrating ourselves. Like, we got a 1 out of 10. And it kind of is that it reaffirms that, like, okay, we still got this. Like, we know what our audience wants to see, and we finally delivered something they want to watch. Seeing that 10 out of 10 is like the exact opposite feeling. Like, my most loyal viewers who got shown this video first didn't click. As you wait for a video to age, you get a lot of different data in from YouTube, but there's never like a really, really clear indicator from YouTube. And they try, but there's never a clear indicator. Was it the title? Was it the thumbnail? Or was it the topic? It's one of those 3 things, in my opinion. You're always kind of left guessing, but what helps is like spending time away from a video, releasing more videos, just trying your best. And then eventually you can kind of group things together and decide, okay, when I talk about X, it does super well. When I talk about Y, not so much. There are clues, but you always have to wait. YouTube is like a big waiting game.
I'd love to know, actually, from the audience, how does blank of 10 impact you? Because you are right, Dan. Like, if you do get a 8, 9, or 10 of 10, when you think it should be something higher, it really starts to make you question yourself, doesn't it? Like, do I actually know how to create content for my target audience? And, you know, we felt that a couple of times, but then when it's a 1 or 2 or 3 of 10, it's like automatically, okay, let's move on to the next video. We know what we're doing now. We're all confident and we're raring to go. And so, yeah, I'd love to know your thoughts about that particular metric that YouTube includes. Because I think I've read or heard somewhere that YouTube may be thinking of hiding that because it may be having a detrimental impact on a creator's mental well-being. And maybe Dan and I are just the tip of the iceberg on this.
I hear you say that, and I think, please don't hide that. Because we
can't help looking at it, can we?
Right. There have been times though where that early data helps resurrect a video. Like, take a video that's early in its life, it's not doing well, but there's something obvious about it. Like, the average view duration is good, but the click-through rate is down, which means, okay, when someone does click, they stick with it, but it's getting them to click. And that's immediately where you can at least try and start to narrow it down.
And let me just show you the proof here. We are at 1 of 10 at the moment. Woo!
Okay, so next, let's talk about average view duration. This is the metric that measures the average amount of time a viewer spends watching your video. Rob, generally speaking, average view duration, what are your thoughts? How do you feel when that data comes in?
The interesting thing about average view duration is that it's always delayed. So you've got to wait like 48 hours before you can see it. So that's probably a blessing in disguise. You know, this is the core of the content, and this is what keeps viewers on the platform. And so you should be scrutinizing it like a hawk. But at the moment, Dan, I'm probably a bit superficial with my analysis of average view duration. For the past year, all I've been focusing on is that first 30 seconds. The length of a video can be 5 minutes or 10 minutes. And just the raw length of a video can really affect the overall average view duration. But there's always that first 30 seconds. And that analytics tends to remain quite constant. Like in all of our videos, this time last year, it was about 65%. And so that was a real key figure that we've talked about. Like, you've got to, first of all, get them in the door with the title and the thumbnail, but then you've got to keep them with a hook. So I told myself I was really determined I was going to go after this metric. And I think we've raised it by about 4 or 5%. It's up around there, 69, 70%. I'm kind of happy and content of where I am with that particular part of audience view duration. But you know, the hockey stick where it just levels off, I'm still not really paying attention to that leveling off bit. It's just like, yeah, it just gradually goes down. I lose about 20 to 30% of my audience over the duration of a video, and I just accept it. Maybe I'm being a little blasé about it. So, you know, YouTube says it's important. How important do I treat it? Probably not as much as I should do, but I'd love to know if you feel any different or think any different.
Average view duration kind of goes back to a question we get a lot from actually you guys watching. Why don't people comment? Why don't they leave a like? Why aren't they subscribing? We always tell people like, well, you need to bring them value in the video, you know, and that is really the crux of it. Like, why are you making this video? Like, when you think about like making a piece of content, you got to think very clearly about who it's for and why they should watch it. Sometimes we just get into this mode where we're making content for the sake of making it because we said we were going to. We said we upload 3 times a week. We better upload 3 times a week. And sometimes what gets lost is like the intention behind the upload. And you can see that reflected very, very clearly with a video that has crappy average view duration. Yes, the hockey stick level off, that happens in some of the best videos. Like, you just get that a lot, but where does it land? After it levels off, do people stick around through the whole thing? Are there parts that just drop significantly because it sounded like you were kind of ending the video? Like, this is the kind of thing that you watch and you cannot improve, I think, from looking at one retention graph one time. You need to watch, you need to study, and you need to practice telling better stories, making better content. There's just a lot of little tweaks you can make to your content to improve this gradually. But I certainly don't put the pressure on myself to improve my average view duration tenfold when I upload a new video. Like title and a thumbnail, I put a lot of pressure on myself because there's a lot you can do leading up to a video after it's already made to make sure that that hits the spot.
Dan, click-through rates. A lot of people have talked a lot of stuff about this. In terms of its description, it's the percentage of times it is clicked on versus how often a thumbnail is shown or a title is shown. But how does it make you feel?
Click-through rate is definitely another like point of anxiety for me because that is the one metric that's kind of like, I look at it as kind of like the check engine light for your content. You don't want to see that come on ever when you're driving your car. So when you post a video and it's suffering from a low click-through rate, and in turn you're getting like 6, 7, 8 out of 10 on it, that's where you're like, is there anything I can do right now to bring this video back to life? And of course, you should be looking at your click-through rate over time, but I feel like, at least for me, click-through rate becomes the most relevant at the very beginning of a video's life. Even if I'm not willing to change the title and the thumbnail, I start to take notes for the next video. I'm trying to learn a lesson about this. How can I make sure the next car I build doesn't have a check engine light the second it rolls off the assembly line?
I have got quite sensitive to click-through rate, but only I would say in the first hour to 3 hours. I think after that, it almost becomes a meaningless number to track because it's impacted so much by impressions. So, Dan, I think I've now learned that, just again on the vidIQ channel, if our click-through rate drops below 10% in the first 15 minutes, and yeah, I'm talking about the first 15 minutes a video is launched, then I start to get really anxious. And if it's under 10% after half an hour, I'm going to get even more anxious. After an hour, then I'm starting to accept that, you know, it's been shared amongst our most hardcore loyal fans at that stage. But if it's under 10%, I'm thinking the thumbnail mustn't be right. But we have videos that have millions of views that have a click-through rate of 5%, you know, on a daily basis.
Do you feel like the average creator should be sweating their click-through rate when a video first publishes for the purpose of like changing it really fast? Because I feel like that's something that we do, and it's kind of second nature at this point, and we have a whole team supporting us. From my perspective, like the average creator maybe shouldn't be doing that. I would encourage it, but I also can see how it could be really stressful.
I think seasoned creators should probably be doing this. You know, creators who've got 3, 4, 5 years of experience, 10,000 plus subscribers, millions of views on the channel. You start to develop this instinct, even without realizing it. You start to say to yourself, usually when the video goes live, I'm sure my click-through rate is higher than that. And then it really starts to hone in on your instinct. But yeah, as you say, Dan, for smaller creators or creators who don't have that much experience, or they're still in the testing phase, so from content to content, numbers can be wildly different. It's just really hard to pin down click-through rate. I would take interest in it. For any creator, I would be taking interest in it in the first 1, 3, 6 hours. But after that, it does tend to level off, in my experience.
Watch time is another metric that a lot of people find themselves obsessing over. This is going to be the total amount of time someone actually watches a video. It is different than average view duration in that way. So the video length, the quality of the content, the viewer engagement, all that stuff plays into this video kind of getting recommended over time.
I've got to confess, I feel like I'm speaking from a position of privilege here, and probably most creators are who are monetized. But I have a certain ambivalence or meh attitude to overall watch time. I think I look at it from a month-to-month perspective, ensuring that it is of a similar number, if not higher, from month to month. Because we create, generally speaking, the same length of videos from video to video. It tends to be between 3 and 8 minutes. I'm not going to make a video longer just to earn more watch time. However, and I just say this from an experience point of view, when we have made longer videos, be it like 90 minutes or 40 minutes, we rarely do this, but when we do this, those videos tend to perform better for a longer period of time, even though the average view duration may be much lower. So for example, we've got the ultimate guide to getting more subscribers on YouTube, and the watch time on it, I think, is about 10 to 15 minutes per viewer. So the average view duration is quite low, but that's a significant amount of time on YouTube watching one video. And so it still gets traffic today. Should we be making more longer videos? Like, should we make one 30-minute video every single week as opposed to the 3 that we do, which are 5 to 8 minutes? It's something to maybe think about in the future. Dan, do you think I'm being just too piffy and not really thinking about watch time from a smaller creator's point of view?
Well, that's just it. Like, I think when you're a smaller channel and you haven't been monetized yet, like, watch time is very significant to you.
It is, yeah. A be all and end all, especially if you've got 1,000 subscribers. That's all somebody cares about.
Yes, but I'll tell you what, like, anytime I've monetized a channel, and I've monetized a handful now, watch time is still one of the last things I look at, but that's because I have like a lot of experience now. I've just kind of come to realize that as long as you're posting videos, it almost doesn't matter if that video is a minute long or 20 minutes long. The goal is to just kind of get it out there to as many people as possible. That watch time will add up. Yes, longer videos help, but one thing I would never do is try and make a video longer for the sake of trying to get more watch time and feed that beast to get 4,000 hours. The only way I would try to give myself an edge, a leg up, and I've done this, is live streams. Live streams can be a great way to kind of earn that watch time and make content that should be very long. It should be very long form content because it appeals to a certain type of viewer who wants to sit and chill with you, hanging out with whatever it is you're doing.
One more point to think about as well is I think watch time is treated very differently by long form creators and shorts creators, because obviously in YouTube Shorts land, watch time isn't a thing. You need 10 million views. Creators, especially in the short form space, understand that it's not necessarily the length of the short, it's how rewatchable the short is or how shareable it is. So the looping of content to get that, average view duration up above 100% seems to be more important. I'd love to know if YouTube was going to revisit the monetization requirements. Would they change it from watch hours back to views, or is it too easy to gain views? Watch time overall is curious. RPMs, CPMs, Dan. This is how much you as a creator earn from ad revenue every 1,000 views. How does that make you feel?
Like I have no control over anything. For a creator who decides like on one niche, right? They're going to make a channel about one thing. There is only one point in which you get to control your RPM, and that is when you choose your niche. So for example, in the tech space, there's a lot of opportunity for making a lot of money because tech creators are reviewing very expensive products. The advertisers know that. And so people who advertise things like tablets and smartphones are going to pay big money to reach those viewers. Whereas if you have a gaming channel, you and everybody else. So there's way more real estate out there, and advertisers who want to target gaming channels have a lot to choose from. There's like a point in which you get to decide in terms of your interest as a creator, like what your RPM is going to be. But even that, like, you don't have a lot of control over it. What are you interested in? Like, you're not going to force yourself to be interested in tech if your passion is gaming, right? Like, you shouldn't do that. You should just go with what you're passionate about, because that's going to be a more successful channel in the end.
I actually think it's pretty cool to see that you're earning revenue by simply flicking a switch. Once you're monetized, YouTube makes it so convenient for you to earn some amount of money. I agree with you, Dan, in the sense that CPM, you have almost no control over that. YouTube can change its policies for time of year. How successful YouTube is as an advertising platform is going to impact that revenue. So you shouldn't stake your livelihood on it. RPM is a little bit different because that takes into account, memberships, super thanks, merch. So that does become a question of responsibility. How much do you want to monetize your community? Are you happy for them to be spending like $50 on a super chat just so they get a shout out on a live stream? Maybe some people are uncomfortable with that. This is all YouTube's house, YouTube's rules. So they're going to set the split, and it can seem quite aggressive, especially on YouTube Shorts where the CPMs are appalling. And I think they're not going to improve that much in that area of short form content. I think that's all going to lay on the responsibility of the creator to use tools such as shopping, brand deals, affiliates, if YouTube integrates that more into YouTube Shorts. But yeah, the idea of you just making videos and all of a sudden one day you can flick a switch and you can earn revenue from it, that's pretty cool. Awesome. You just don't want it to be your only source of income.
Where it begins to me to like not matter anymore is the level of money you're making on your channel does not determine the success of the videos you're making for your channel. It's a very personal metric, right? Like it only matters to you. It only should matter to you, but you shouldn't weigh that as like, well, okay, if I could get a video to make $1,000 off of AdSense, obviously YouTube will share it even more because it's a moneymaker. As far as we know, that's not how it works at all.
Yeah, and we proved that. I think we turned on monetization last year, and our views actually went down, ever so slightly on all of the videos that we monetized. What we really haven't mentioned here is brand deals, sponsorships, affiliate links, all the external revenue income streams that you have a lot more control of, but it requires you to put in a ton more work. But it's a multiplier effect. If you put in a lot of work on sealing these brand deals, you can start to earn 5 figures as opposed to earning maybe 3 figures through AdSense. So just remember, folks, 1,000 subscribers, 4,000 hours of watch time. It's a nice cherry on the cake, a little bit of extra icing. But in the meantime, you should be putting the ingredients into that main cake of your income to turn it into a proper business empire.
So we just sat here and we talked about what all these things are. Now I think what we should do is from worst to best, like what are creators supposed to be focused on when thinking about these 5 different things we've discussed? So what do you think out of these things we've talked about, creators should worry about the least on this list?
I hope you agree with this, Dan, but it would be CPMs/RPMs because they don't directly impact the channel. It is a result of channel success. You earn revenue based on the performance of your channel, not the other way around. Do you agree?
I completely agree. So yeah, number 5, we are going to say CPM, RPM shouldn't be worried about it when comparing these 5 things.
So we're looking at a ranking at number 4 here.
I think at number 4 for me is probably going to be watch time. And maybe that's a bad thing in terms of what says a lot about me as a creator, especially when you get monetized, which just fun fact for a lot of you creators out there, once you're monetized, ideally you're going to spend more time as a monetized creator than a non-monetized creator. So you won't have to keep getting monetized. And at that point, watch time just doesn't matter. And if you can get those other things down, I still say it doesn't matter. If you can get your click-through rate up and your average view duration and everything else, I'd say you're going to be in great shape for watch time.
I'm not going to disagree with you. I can't find enough reason to say I think you're wrong there. Probably for the same reasons. But let me add the caveat that YouTube in their funnel analytic, which has been around for years now, it does say increased click-through rate and watch time will contribute to more impressions. But Dan, I'm not disagreeing with you. I think watch time is probably number 4 for me as well.
Okay, I'm going to throw it back to you then. What would you say comes in at number 3 in terms of importance?
If we put watch time at number 4, I think click-through rate, depending on the life of a video, probably goes at number 3. Like in the first hour, 3 hours, I'm watching it like an absolute hawk. That's like maybe number 1 or 2. But once it gets past that initial velocity and it's just on YouTube for the rest of time doing its thing, I don't tend to look at click-through rate very much at all. So 3 for me, Dan.
So I'm kind of in agreement with you in terms of long term, but I started to get a little bit like, thinking about, well, wait a minute, when are we talking here? Because I think impressions are something that would fit well in number 3, because impressions come and go like based on how good you did at making a title, a thumbnail, and a topic. To me, like, it's one of those metrics you have a little less control over, and therefore it kind of ranks down a little bit. But when you're talking about like the early success of a video versus its overall lifespan, then I agree with you in terms of like click-through rate being lower on the list.
So you've agreed with me there, right? We're doing it as number 3.
Yes.
Yes, we are. All right, let's move on. What are we doing, impressions or average view duration in number 2?
I guess we have to do impressions at number 1. Given that we put click-through rate at number 3, this is where it gets really weird, because it does kind of follow the order in which we talked about everything, but not intentionally. I just think it kind of comes down to those watching. Like, when does any of this matter the most to you? Is it right after you upload a video, or do you tend to go back into your catalog and try and learn from the things you've done? Because it's going to change how it ranks for you. I think it's both for me. I'm always going back into our old catalog, always trying to learn from the things we've done in the past. In the moment, when you first publish something, like, it's going to be like click-through rate is number 1. Like, that's where I'm like zoned in. So I've ruined our rankings.
I guess my argument for watch time being below impressions is that impressions is like the cause and effect of everything. It's the alpha and the omega. Everybody sees a thumbnail and the title, and that is your impression. And when you go through the entire cycle of content, you're on to the next video, and that impression is there again. Watch time isn't impacted, technically speaking, by impressions and click-through rate. Once a person is in a video, then that's when the watch time analytic begins. So, I'm arguing for impressions being at the top, because it just impacts everything. Am I right? Am I wrong? Has this discussion got us anywhere, Dan? I just don't know.
So if you want to check out the video that actually did really well for us, I'm actually going to leave it right over here so you can see what it takes to get yourself a 1 out of 10.